previously said, we are learning the last new lesson today, which is about parallel and perpendicular lines. We talked about parallel and perpendicular lines back in geometry. So we're going to review parallel and perpendicular, and we are also going to just talk a little bit about how all our linear equations relate back to each other. So again, if you think about everything we've learned so far, we have three equations of lines. We have standard form, slope-intercept form, and point-slope. So today we're going to continue using these three forms to investigate parallel and perpendicular. So horizontal lines are two special types of linear equations. A horizontal line is a line that goes straight across. Its slope is 0. Its equation is always y equals. Its domain is all reals. And its range is the y value of the equation. A vertical line goes straight up and down. Its slope is undefined. X is considered a constant. So your equation of your line is x equals. The domain is whatever that constant is. So in this case, it's C from the graph. And your range is all reals. Okay. And our other two special lines are parallel and perpendicular. Perpendicular lines will have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. So an example of opposite reciprocals would be 2 and -1/2. Another example would be like 1/4. Its perpendicular slope would be -4. If you multiply two slopes together that are perpendicular, it will always equal -1. Okay, parallel lines have slopes that are the same. All right, so basically, parallel, perpendicular. Perpendicular lines will have slopes that are opposite reciprocal. So everybody tries to just change the slope and keep the y-intercept the same. All we are taking from this equation is the slope given. We're going to say, okay, it's perpendicular, so my new slope is the opposite reciprocal. And then I'm going to use the point given to write the equation of my new line. I am going to ignore this plus 1. It means absolutely nothing. So it becomes y plus 3 equals negative 1/4 x minus 5. And again, if it asks you for slope intercept, you'll distribute. Subtract 3. So 5/4 minus 3. Again, you could use your graphing calculator. Type in parentheses 5 divided by 4. Close your parentheses. Subtract 3. Hit math, enter, enter. And it will give you minus 7/4. Now, if you're asked to graph it and your y-intercept is gross, like negative 7/4, what you can do is plot the point given to you. So I'm going to plot the point 5, negative 3, and then use my slope to graph the line. So this slope is down 1 and right 4, or up 1 and left 4. Connecting the 2 points, we have the equation of our line. Okay, perpendicular, once again, we know our graph is going through the point negative 1, 3, so you'd plot your point on the graph. If your slope is perpendicular, it's the opposite, reciprocal. And then you plug into point slope 4. A minus turns to a positive. Distribute the negative 1/5. Add over your 3. And negative 1/5 plus 3 is kind of like 3 minus a fifth. So you get 2 4/5, which is also 14/5. So going from our point we plotted on our graph, I'm going to go down 1 and right 5. I can also go up 1 and left 5. And then in the next example, we have parallel lines. So parallel lines have slopes that are the same. So my slope is 2/3. My point is 2, 1. So I plug into point slope 4. Distribute and combine like terms. And once again, my y-intercept is something kind of gross. So we're going to use the idea that the slope is 2/3. It goes through this point 2, 1. So I'm going to plot the point 2, 1 and then go up 2 and over 3. Or down 2 and left 3. And connect my points. For our chapter test, I will typically ask you to give me 3 points on the line. It helps keep your line straight. It also helps me give you more opportunity to get your slope correct or points on the line correct. In example 4, this is a vertical line. Vertical means straight up and down. So if it goes through the point 5, -3, it's vertical. That means it's x equals 5 always, and y can be anything. So it's going to be straight up and down through x equals 5. And again, your domain is 5 because it's the only x value you can have, but your range is all reals. And if I asked you for the slope, it's undefined, because what happens is if you would pick any 2 points on that graph, so we have 5, -3, and maybe you also picked 5, 2, you'd have -3 minus 2, but you get 5 minus 5. So you get a number over 0. And anytime you get a number over 0, it's undefined. Horizontal is the opposite of vertical. You think of the sun and the horizon. So a horizontal line goes through -2, 2. Horizontal lines are always y equals, and whatever the y value is. So in this case, it would be y equals 2. It means y is always 2, so all your points go straight across. So you could have the point -2, 2. You could have the point 0, 2. And again, if you went to find this slope, you get 2 minus 2 over 0 plus 2. And 0 over a number is always 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is 0. Your homework is the front and the back of the next page. So 23 to 26 came from your book. And then the back is a worksheet I put together to give you some extra practice on parallel and perpendicular.